Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Hari Om to everybody. I cannot hear them. I cannot hear them, no?
No, you can't hear some.
I must hear, no?
Now you hear some.
Yeah. Yes, come on, tell me. Where are we now?
We are in Ashram, Swamiji.
We are in ashram, okay. But topic-wise, where are we now? How far we have traveled with Papa?
We are in the bullock cart, Swami.
We are in the bullock cart.
Sorry.
We are in the bullock cart.
3 months have elapsed. You can't afford to be in a bullock cart. You should have been in two-wheeler at least. Okay, bullock cart, okay. Where are we now?
Intrusion and expansion.
Huh?
Expansion.
Expansion?
Intrusion and expansion.
I couldn't hear.
Yes, we are in, Swamiji is asking, expansion.
Before that?
Hari Om, Kalamma. Padma. Audio. Keep the audio proper, Padma. Yes.
Before expansion, they said something. No?
What expansion? Intensive. Something you said, na? Hari Om, Padma.
Swamiji is not hearing correct. Swamiji is not hearing correct.
Pardon? Audios, one by one, please switch on only one person audio, otherwise we can't hear clearly.
Mataji, Swamiji is hearing or not?
Yes, now, yes, Swamiji is able to hear, but so many people switch on the audio, it is not clear. One person, please switch on the audio and then tell.
How do they know that one person should...
Yes, Vivekananda Sharmaji, your audio is on. Anything?
Yes. I request Swami to start afresh from the third chapter, Mataji.
Third chapter. Swamiji,
Third
you are.
chapter.
Yes. From third chapter.
Third chapter is adoption of sannyas.
Yes, Swami, yes.
What are the teachings? First of all, we should know that it has been non-traditional throughout. The prompting comes from within and action follows. There is no individual there. It is not a planned one. Because nowhere he has mentioned that when he got down at E Road, that he would proceed to Trichy, and from Trichy to Srirangam. He got into the train from Mangalore at 5:30 in the morning, and when it reached E Road, he was prompted to get down, that's all. And after searching for meals, he was sitting in the station. Somebody came and asked, "Where are you planning to go?" Then he said, "You will know better." Then he said, "The next train is coming, that is taking us towards Trichy." So he got into the train. And at Trichy, he was prompted to go to Srirangam. Then he has mentioned, now he knew why Ram was asking. So it is based on spontaneity. It is not, that means the sense of individuality was not planning. Total absence of sense of individuality, so that there was no planning at all. And because there was no planning, it was totally non-traditional. So here the first lesson he says is, sannyas is something which is adopted purely based upon the inner prompting. Not that the other one is invalid. Here, this approach is also there. Nowhere Papa condemns any traditional way of approach. It has been there for ages, for centuries, for generations. Nowhere he has condemned, nowhere he has criticized, nowhere he has invalidated. But at the same time, his approach, God chose him to make it altogether different approach. And here the approach is purely based upon spontaneity. It is not based upon the usual planning by the sense of individuality. This is something on which we as sadhakas should deeply ponder over.
Spontaneity is intuition, Swami, isn't it?
Pardon?
The spontaneity is intuition, isn't it? Intuition.
Intuition, yeah. And what is the second one? Because it was not based upon the traditional approach, no other formalities were there. Only a symbolic change came from the change of dress, that's all. And then the most important thing is the 3 vows. This is very important. Fixed resolves, Because it has come from within, it stays as a constant reminder in his life. Because it has not come from outside. Anything that comes from outside will have its own limitation, in the sense we might forget our earnestness or sincerity toward the resolves. It becomes ritualistic, to be very frank. Somebody asks us to do something and we follow it something. There is a likelihood. Many people may hold on to it honestly, sincerely, successfully. But we find that when the resolve comes from within, because it has come from within, not from outside, it stays forever without getting it diluted at any point of time. So the first one is the most important one. Hereafter the life will be dedicated exclusively for, consecrated, you know what that's the word? This life be henceforth entirely consecrated to meditation and service of Sriram. Contemplating, manana, you know. This life will henceforth be entirely consecrated to meditation. That is why we find during the rest of the chapters, whenever there was any occasion or any opportunity thrown out to him, he will resort to meditation. As an appendage, chanting. So the main engine is meditation. Important for all of us to think over. We should not be merely satisfied by chanting. What is to be followed is the manana. And then, are we to keep ourselves aloof from the rest of the creation? No. He also adds the service. But at the same time, service should not lead to any sort of ownership at any level. Sentimental, emotional, physical, no? That's why he said Sriram, service of Sriram. Every service, every form of service is directed towards the indwelling and all-pervading reality. We can also interpret meditation stands for the indwelling reality, service stands for the all-pervading reality. So it becomes comprehensive. When we go deeply within, the sense of individuality realizes that it exists because of the indwelling reality. The spiritual journey ultimately culminates in becoming aware of the truth that everything happens only by the will of that indwelling reality, including the sadhana, including the nama chanting, including the manana. And so the first vow stands for these two sublime truths. One is to go within and to realize the presence of the indwelling reality, and then not keeping ourselves away under the banner of spirituality, doing everything as a part of seva to the all-pervading reality. Only when we try to realize the presence of the all-pervading reality in all the creations, then only we can say it's a service of Sriram. So the first vow is very, 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 very comprehensive. It envelops everything. As sadhakas, as devotees, we can all mentally adopt sannyas without even anybody knowing it, but at the same time hold on to these three. This is another subtle message Papa is giving to all of us. Because the three resolves are very, very important. The next one is strict celibacy to be observed, looking upon all women as mothers. This is another factor which gives us a sense of duality, you know. We try to identify with the life principle, the awareness principle, the intelligence principle. Gender does not come there. Life is the same in everybody. Life force, the power of life, that mysterious power, and the self-awareness. Nobody need tell us that we are there, the sense of beingness, awareness. Sat, Chit, Anand. The Sat aspect, the Chitta aspect, and the intelligence, you know. The core of intelligence, because of which the entire creature comforts have come out. So these three important manifestations of the self, you know. First is the life force, the one which makes our heart beat, the one which makes us to breathe, the one which makes us to have the blood circulation, the one which enables us to have the digestive power. Like that, you know. These are all common to everybody, no gender there. Similarly, the awareness, I amness. Similarly, the intelligence. So, Papa, by bringing this, he says, you know, we have to stick on to that particular aspect of this creation. Otherwise, when we come down to the individual level, Deha Buddhi, gender comes, and because the gender comes, all other problems, which we all know very well. So here, the second one stands for that. And the third one, here also the sense of duality is to be erased. He says, body be maintained and fed upon the food procured by bhiksha, or on what was offered as alms. That means nothing, I will keep it for myself, you know. There is no tomorrow. There is no sense of insecurity. There is no sense of wanting, no grumbling, no complaints. All those things are covered by the three. The body be maintained and fed upon the food procured by bhiksha, or on what was offered as alms. So yeah?
What is the difference between I-ness and I-amness?
What is the difference between I-ness and I-amness?
I-amness, you know, normally we say the beingness. Now we are, you know, we are talking, you know, you are hearing. That amness, that continuity is there. In grammar it is called, in English grammar it is called present continuous. We have been taught, you know, when we regularly say, you know, I go to school means, I regularly, it's a normal practice. But when I say I am going to school, it's an act that is, it's an expression that comes at the time of acting. So I amness means that I am. That is why we are hearing. It can't be explained further. The amness, the easeness, the beingness. Because it is there now and here. So these three life force, the amness, and the intelligence. It is beyond all gender.
Consciousness can be told as consciousness, Swamiji. I amness can be told as consciousness.
Consciousness. Same. And then, so the third one stands for total freedom from any sort of worries, tensions, stress. Because there is no tomorrow, no, there is no. We are all concerned about what will happen, no? Next moment what will happen. Sense of insecurity is there. So that is why we keep on planning. But in this resolve, Papa, by bringing out this resolve, makes us understand that these three are essential for all of us to think over and try as much as possible. It may not be possible for us to implement 100%. But to some extent it may become possible for us. Previously we will not be satisfied if we don't have a lakh of rupees. Probably we might be satisfied with 100 rupees now, no? Like that. Not that zero. So we try to understand how much we can bring it down, the sense of insecurity. That means when we try to lead a simple life, our wants will be limited. To that extent, we will be free from the sense of craving, the sense of protecting, the sense of maintaining, like that. So the Papa in this particular chapter brings out all these dimensions in the form of three resolves. We need not think that it was a resolve taken by him at the time of sannyas. Yes, it is true. That was the instrumental cause. But now later on he now touches and kindles. If you read with that aspect, you will only be reading a history of a person. But if you are trying to interpret it in your own language, why am I prompted to go through these resolves? What has it got to do with my life? I may be a grihastha, I may be a sannyasi, I may be a professional, I may be a social worker. Does it matter to me when I read these three resolves? If we don't go by what is explained now, we will be reading only Papa's resolves for his sannyas. And before taking that resolve, he makes a prayer. It's also very important. O Ram, bless thy poor devotee with thy grace. May Ramdas be endued with strength, courage and faith to carry out in thy name, Ram, the following vows and bear all trials and all kinds of privations that may beset the path of a sannyasi in his passage through the rough and perilous life of a mendicant. So prayer is also very important. That means every moment we are trying to connect ourselves with him. That is very important.
Shall I?
So when we reread now this third chapter, these are all the things that comes and touches and kindles in our mind. Spontaneity. Throughout these 37 chapters, you can find the expression of the spontaneity, Nowhere the planning takes place. Nowhere all these three resolves are put into action, It is not merely a resolve taken on a particular day, on a particular occasion. There has been a sustained expression of these resolves throughout the rest of the chapters. As individuals, we may also make some resolves. When we go to a particular place, when we see a particular Mahatma, when we go through an inspiring book, immediately the mind will come out with resolves, honestly. But since we have not prepared the equipment, as time goes on, it gets diluted. So many things are answered through these three vows here. And the 37 chapters, 34 chapters. Immediately from the next chapter onwards, we will find all these three vows are put in, are implemented or translated into his life. So it is an authentication, not merely a resolve. And when we say that there are many saints who do not follow these traditions, but at the same time they have reached the summit and they just shine by themselves, that's all. Say Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, he did not follow any particular form, traditional form. Anyway, Sri Anandamayama. Many saints. Even Sri Aurobindo. So here Papa clearly spells out that not only that it is spontaneous, unplanned, non-traditional, he gives importance for these three vows by which the entire life activities are covered. One is to translate every thought, word and deed as an offering, as a dedication to the indwelling and all-pervading reality. Second one is to free ourselves from the gendership, the duality. Third one is to acquire, to possess, to hold, to keep it for some tomorrow. That is completely not there. Because the total faith is there that it will be taken care of by him. There is no need for us to take care of us. We all do that. We take care of us because we know that we have to take care of us. We have not brought him into our life to that extent. Though at a superficial level we have. Ultimately he will take, but now I will also plan this, So this planning also goes on. That is why Papa used to say, you add one. Okay, it's all right. God gives you the prompting to plan. When you take that, you add one comma subject to his will. Then there is no problem. So when we were talking about chapter number 3, it is so exhaustive. It is so much connected with the life of a devotee or a sadhaka. First we will be tempted, we can also adopt sannyas mentally, and then we try to list out what are the things that we have to adhere to, what are the things that we have to shun. And silently we can all of us can make a move towards that to the extent possible. There is a word called parimiti parigraham. We may not be able to completely free ourselves from parigraham, but we can put a limit. Beyond this, I will not. For everything, there should be a limit. That is the first stage. People who are very much involved in all sorts of activities, how are we towards him? Because it is parigraham that occupies our mind space. Parigraham in the form of attachment, relationship, parigraham in craving for our assets, for our security, possessing, acquiring, hoarding, all these things come. So first step could be parimiti parigraham. In all matters, we will have our own limits. I will not go beyond this. First stage, Even if we are offered, even if we are tempted, we are pressurized, we will not give in, You will find that, when his brother in Bombay, Ramakrishna Rao, at the time of leaving, he gave some eatables, some fruits, eatables. To him, it was a burden. The first thing he did was to distribute. And he said, oh, the load is off. Even if somebody has given, throughout, when we go through inquest of God and in the vision of God, we will find He will not accept anything beyond certain limit. 2 types of dress means that's all. So we can all try to adopt this. What is the use of hearing all these things? We will try to make a resolve to ourselves. Each one can each one can define what is the limit. No outsider need know about it. We silently stick to it. So these 3 vows, we can silently be strict. There may be challenges. There may be temptations. There may be intense craving. But this one will definitely be, don't step in, don't step in, don't step in, don't give in, like that, So parimiti parigraham. Setting a limit to everything could be the first step. It's good that somebody raised this third chapter. Today he touches and kindles so many new dimensions.
Swamiji, Chitswarupanand Swamiji is going to Tirupati. It seems 5 o'clock he is leaving.
Oh.
He said he will come back. Shall I bring something?
You can. 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock they have to leave it soon. So we can close 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
That will be good.
Can tell you. Yes, anything else? Papa is prompting us to take up this in quest of God during the centenary year, not to have any academic exercise, but trying to connect ourselves with the theme. We have been given the freedom to interpret in any way we like, provided we are grounded on the truth, God. So these three vows and the steps preceding to, for example, now when we read this, going up to the river, he bathed in the clear waters. Here on the banks of the Kaveri, he assumed by Ram's command the robe of a sannyasin. It was a momentous step, by taking which Ram gave him entirely a new birth. The white clothes previously worn by him were offered up to the Kaveri, who carried them away in her rushing waters. The Geriva or orange-colored clothes were put on, and the following prayer went up to the feet of the Almighty Ram. O Ram, O love infinite, protector of all the worlds, it is by thy wish alone that thy humble slave has been induced to adopt sannyas. In thy name alone, O Ram, he has given up samsara and cut asunder all bonds, all ties. O Ram, bless thy poor devotee with thy grace. May Ramdas be endued with strength, courage and faith to carry out in thy name, Ram, the following vows and bear all trials and all kinds of privations that may beset the path of a sannyasi in his passage through the rough and perilous life of a mendicant. This life be henceforth entirely consecrated to meditation and the service of Sriram. Strict celibacy be observed, looking upon all women as mothers. Body be maintained and fed upon the food procured by bhiksha or on what was offered as alms. So we are reading, rereading and trying to connect our life with it, Probably at a different level, that's all. Just like we have outgrown many of the things that were with us as time passed by, it might be possible for us to outgrow many of the present tendencies in our mind also, for which we need some support. And that support is what is called the vows. We were closely associated with devout Jains. So after 6 o'clock, they will not eat. You can see that how they hold on to it. If by any chance, if we are traveling, and if by any chance we are not in a position to stop anywhere before 6, they will forego. But if there is some chance, okay, we will buy some fruits. 6 o'clock, 3 approaching. There will be something there, that the vow puts them on alert, not to cross the boundary. It's a Lakshman Rekha. We have seen many such people taking some vows and then they keep it up, come what may. So, by reading these 3 vows, we can also try in our own way how we try to take out the essence of the vows and then pray to him to make us to live up to it. It is a really a tough challenge. So far, whatever the mind says, we have been doing it. But here we are putting a break. No, that is enough. So this particular chapter reminds us of so many such things in our day-to-day life. They all can be implemented in some form, May not be to this extent, but to some extent. So our request is that we should reread and reread these 3 vows again and again and again, and then pray to him to take out the essence of it and then give us the needed, push from inside to implement it to the maximum extent possible. And then rest of the 34 chapters help us how to get grounded in it. Yes. Because we will be going through the 34 chapters with this background. Which are the areas where we will have to face challenges and how we can tame ourselves, how we can ensure that we don't cross the Lakshman Rekha. Vows should be very, very clear. That is very important. And holding on to the vows. For which, of course, essential thing is prayer. We seek his guidance, we seek his protection at every stage to live up to what he has been prompting us to do. Not allowing our mind to take a ride. Today we may close at 4:50, 10 minutes earlier. Before closing, if anybody has anything to say on what has been discussed, please come out.
How is Swamiji's health?
How is Swamiji's health?
Straight away, Health is all right in the sense pain has not completely left.
And exertion need not be, Swamiji.
Huh?
Exertion need not be.
Exertion should not, need not.
Body will stop, the moment it crosses its limit. So think about.
Swamiji.
Today we saw the 3 vows taken that gave a new meaning to it, that it is not only after Papa taking the vow, how it can be adopted to us in our daily life.
Correct.
That was most important for me.
Kindly think about it.
Take up.
And tomorrow, if any new thought comes up, you can share it. the 3 vows and the rest of the 34 chapters. An extension of these 3 vows. Monday, tomorrow is holiday. Okay. Monday we will meet.
In chapter 31, Junagadh also, that 1 rupee he gave it back.
Correct. Prachi.
Yes. So
Now we
wow.
correct. Now we know that all the 34 chapters are only an extension of these 3 vows. When that mother said, I can't give you water because I belong to a different, immediately the gender discrimination is not there. He said to you, Ramdas sees you only as a mother. So why don't you give to your child? 34 chapters are nothing but the extension of the vows taken. These are all something on which we can try, we will try in our own way. Let us all coin out this word, parimiti parigraham. Putting limitation on our parigrahas, possessions.
Swamiji,
No.
another important thing that came up is, throughout Papa showed that he had no deha buddhi, no deha abhiman. Then how can we think Papa as a limited form of Swami Ramdas?
Correct.
When he himself was away from it.
Correct.
So we have to also see Papa as the universal life force only.
Yeah. Correct. That also is a good dimension. Because as you said, the Deha Buddhi is there, all these 3 vows cannot be implemented fully. So he through the Deha Buddhi probably completely disconnected. Even if at all anything was there remaining. When he has thus removed the sense of individuality by the grace of God, he becomes one with the cosmic truth, cosmic reality. So we also cannot limit. That is why Mataji said, omnipresent Papa's ashram is the whole universe. To know that, he has set up this ashram. Omnipresent Papa's ashram is the whole universe. To know that, he has set up this ashram. To know what? To know that he himself was the expression of cosmic truth. Shivanji Maharaj, during his writings on the silver jubilee of Papa Sanyas, he has written the same word. Cosmic truth revealed through a particular form. Anyway, let us all try to ponder over as much as possible, assimilate, and then pray to him to give us something of it, so that our life also becomes an offering to him. Okay then, Hari Om. Om Sriram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sriram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sriram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.